Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really thrilling, honestly kind of spooky piece of local folklore. It's one of those stories that's been passed down for generations. You know, the kind packed with fear, a really strange mystery, and ultimately a totally unexpected revelation of truth. So let's get right into our deep analysis of folklore, the mystery of the bamboo grove.
Since that day, the sound of the shanka was never heard there again. Okay, I want you to just close your eyes for a second. Picture a quiet old village bordering a thick, dark bamboo grove. You can literally hear the eerie rustling of bamboo leaves in the wind. And cutting through that rustle is the daily, familiar ringing of a shanka. And then, suddenly, it just stops. It's crazy how a single sentence can instantly create such an overwhelming sense of emptiness, right? Because when an everyday sound just vanishes, well, that absence is actually what rings the loudest. This sudden, heavy silence plants a massive question in our minds. What in the world happened that day? Why did that spot go completely silent forever?
That brings us to part 1, the silence of the bamboo grove.
Moving right along to part 2, tales heard from elders.
So the text notes, however, the village elders still say today. Now, this is an absolutely crucial element of the narrative. It builds this solid bridge between the past and the present. The historical event itself might be frozen in time on that one specific day, but thanks to the elders, the memory of that weird incident is very much alive. They're essentially the gatekeepers of this strange folklore. They pass down this unresolved truth to the next generation so that, honestly, it's never truly lost.
Now picture the specific spine-chilling conditions wrapped around this event. There are 3 exact elements you need to know. First, the pitch-black night of a new moon, or Amavasya. Second, you're walking right beside that isolated, incredibly dense bamboo grove. And third, a faint sound of a shanka suddenly floats through the darkness. Wow, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. It's like all the classic ingredients of a terrifying folklore legend are perfectly arranged right here. It builds this totally suffocating atmospheric suspense. But here's where the story takes a completely unimaginable turn. The question is, why shouldn't you be afraid? Seriously, think about it. A pitch-dark new moon night, an isolated bamboo grove, an unknown ghostly sound. Being terrified is the natural reaction, right? I mean, if we were out there, we'd be absolutely terrified. Yet, this folklore explicitly tells us there is absolutely nothing to fear. Right in this exact moment, the narrative completely breaks the mold of your standard ghost story and pivots toward a totally different truth.
Which leads us to part 3. Not evil, rather a blessing.
This is where our expectations of a typical horror story are literally flipped upside down. On one hand, we have this innate human assumption, the call of an evil force. We just naturally assume whatever is hiding in the dark, whatever we don't understand, must be super dangerous. But right against that stands the actual truth of this story, the blessing of the innocent Sachunni. This striking contrast totally captures the emotional core of the whole tale. We so often mistake the blessing of an innocent spirit for some malevolent, harmful force. The real takeaway? Darkness doesn't always equal danger or doom.
So, the crucial piece of the puzzle lies in the definition of the word Sachunni. Normally, when you hear the name of a spirit like a Sachunni in local folklore, you instantly picture this monstrous, terrifying entity. But actually, scratch that. The text defines her here specifically as the one who ultimately ensured the victory of truth. Meaning, she isn't a monster at all. She's not an evil presence. She is this totally unique symbol of innocence, someone who stood firm even after death to establish the absolute truth.
And that brings us to our final section, part 4, the ultimate victory of truth. It's just amazing how what seemed like a simple, scary campfire story masterfully transforms into this incredibly inspiring moral narrative. Think about how the storyteller used that terrifying atmosphere of the new moon night and that eerie, heavy silence of the bamboo grove. The point wasn't just to scare us, not at all. It was actually to make the light of truth shine even brighter by contrast. Because, the darker the background, the more intensely the light stands out.
This folklore isn't just a ghost story, it's this immortal example of justice, a victory that still echoes in the words of the village elders even today.
Before we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a little food for thought. When we look at our own lives, don't we see something remarkably similar? Aren't there plenty of dark, new moon nights in our lives where we face an unknown situation and immediately assume it's going to be terrible? But if we dig just a little deeper, if we bravely step forward into the unknown, we might just find that the fear hiding in the dark is actually a blessing in disguise, carrying a profound truth. So the next time you find yourself walking through the dark bamboo groves of your own life, maybe this ancient folklore will help you see things in a whole new light. Until next time, stay curious.